This is an AutoCAD tutorial on dimensions from AutoCAD in 20 hours. Check your settings on YouTube. Set them to HD if that's possible. The first thing we want to do is to create a new layer. So let's click on the Layer Properties Manager. Give it a moment to open up. And let's create a new layer by clicking on the New Layer button. And let's name that new layer Dimensions. Set it current, and then close the box. Next, we want to make certain that the text associated with dimensions is the text that we want to be associated with dimensions. Type style, enter, and that will bring up the text style box. Select the standard, and you can see we've got a preset here that is potentially not what we want. I've been using City Blueprint for these tutorials, so I'm going to set the City Blueprint as the standard style, and then I'm going to leave everything else the same. I'm not going to select annotative, leave that off, and I'm going to just apply it, set it current, and close it. Now we are going to open the Dimension Style Manager by clicking on this button here on the Dimension toolbar, or you can type Dim Style. Select the standard and then click on the New button and give it a name. We're going to call this quarter, and then continue. Click on the Fit tab. This is the most important part of the dimension settings, is the Use Overall Scale of. We're going to use 48, and the reason for that is that this is going to be set up for the scale of 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. The formula for that scale, I'm going to have to close this out to show you this, is we take the 1 foot and convert it into inches, 12 inches, divide it by 1/4 inch, which is 0.25, and that gives us our 48. So open up this box again. Now we're going to modify it to open it up the second time. We'll go back to Fit. So there we are, we've got our 48 in there. If you're using metric, then your scale is the same for this setting as it is for your drawing. Next, let's go to the Primary Units tab, and for this tutorial we're using architectural, so let's make sure that that's set. Scale factor will be 1 unless we are scaling the drawing up in model space, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Now let's go to the text, and we want to set the height of the text to 1/8 or whatever you want to use. And then we've got these settings here, and you can play around with them and then watch the display here it'll show you what the difference is as you change them around and set up your dimension style that you like. I always align it with the dimension line, and so you can see it change the eighth into a fraction. Next, let's go to the symbols and arrows, and here you pick from a menu of the type of arrowhead you want for the different parts of the dimension. And once again, as you change that, you'll see it displayed in the window here. And here's the setting for your leaders, so that's pretty important. So here's where you'd set the style for your leaders that you will use with this dimension style. You can also set the arrowhead size here, up or down. And then we're going to click OK. There's other settings here. You can set the thickness of the lines, the type of lines here, underlines. But basically, you can leave most of that just for the standard settings and you'll be fine. So now we'll click OK. And you'll see here in the description, it's got the name of this dimension style. And we'll just go ahead and click Current. And it shows you what it looks like. And then we'll close that. So let's try out our new dimension style. Here I've drawn a little simple geometric feature. So we click on the linear button on the dimension toolbar. Click on one end of this top line and then the other. And then we move that up and click it to set it in place. And then we repeat that for whatever we are dimensioning. If we want to put a dimension on an angular line, then we use the aligned button. Click on the two ends, pull it out, and enter. So these dimensions are set up for printing out at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. And these numbers will come out at 1/8 inch when they're printed out. Let's suppose though that we wanted to plot at 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. So then we would change our numbers here. Let's hold on a second here. A bit of a problem. There we go. So we're going to change this now to the decimal equivalent of 1/8, which is 0.125. That will change this number here to 96. So let's go back into our dim style and we'll stick with well, we could just do a modified version of either the standard or the quarter. We'll just type new again and we'll name this one 1/8. Then continue. And now we're going to change this to 96. And we'll leave everything else the same. We'll still have 1/8 here in the text height because it's going to automatically adjust that for us. So let's go OK. We'll set it current and we'll see it's down here in the description. So now let's go back to our geometric figure here. And let's see what that looks like. Let's click on the linear. One end of the line, the other, and you'll see it's twice as large. So this is what you need to print it out an 1/8 inch at 1/4 to the foot, and it needs to be twice as large as at 1/8 to the foot. And once again, as I said, in the metric system, your use overall scale of is going to be the same as the scale that you are drawing to. So the equivalent of 1/4 inch to the foot is about 50. It's very close in the metric system. Let's look at another feature of dimension, and that is the continuous command. Also, you can type dim continue. But first you start with the linear. Click the first section. Pull it up. Click it into place. Now come right over and click the continuous, and it automatically will dimension the rest of it and align it. You can see this. I'm going to escape here, and let's try it with the other, with the 1/4 inch dim style. 1/4, set current, close, and then you should be able to see it a little bit better that way. There we go. Now come right over with no clicks in between. Click right on the continuous, and you can see it lines everything up just perfectly for you. Very handy. If you want to use the annotative feature, then come over, open up the dim style manager, and click on the annotative. And now you can go ahead and you could modify it if you're only going to have one, or you can set a new annotative, and let's call this Q Anno, 1/4 inch annotative. So here, let's go to our fit. Since it's annotative, this doesn't apply, because it's going to do that for you automatically. All you really need to do is set the text height here, and we'll set it to 1/8 here, and OK. Let's set that current, and we see it here. I'm sorry, we have to go back here and go under primary units and set this one to architectural again, just so it matches what we've got. OK. Set it current, close it. Now we come down to the annotative scale button here at the bottom and open that up. We have to tell the system at what scale we're going to print out so that it knows. And we set that up for 1/8. So let's click on that. And now let's see what happens. Let's take these dimensions here and move them up a ways. Use the move button here so we can see what happens. We'll just move those up a little bit. Now let's click on the linear, and there you go. You can see, I'm going to enter to get out of the command, that it is the same size as the 1/8. It's doing it for you automatically. So that should get you up and running with your dimensions. If you're having trouble understanding the scales, watch my video on scales, and visit AutoCADin20hours.com for your free trial and lots more free information.